Hello, welcome. Hi, everybody. Welcome and thanks for joining us. We're going to get started momentarily. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here this evening. Hi, everybody. We're going to get started now. Thanks for joining us. Hello and welcome to the Stony Brook University Undergraduate Admissions Virtual Welcome Session. I'm Amanda Mills, Assistant Director of Admissions, also joined by Ryan Donnelly from the Admissions Office. Congratulations on your acceptance to Stony Brook this year. Just to put in perspective how impressive this is, we received just under 50,000 applications for first-year admission and expect a class of around 3,500 students. For those that have not seen it, I'll post a link to the admitted students website, which reviews all of your next steps and also lists special events for accepted students. In a few minutes, our panelists will introduce themselves, give you some important information, and we will begin answering questions. I'm excited for you to meet them, and I encourage you to listen closely and soak in their great combined wisdom and insights about the student experience at Stony Brook. You can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to ask questions. As a reminder this evening, there are no representatives from the Financial Aid and Scholarship Office. However, I will post their contact information so you can follow up with them. I will also post a link to the recording of the financial aid presentation that reviewed the award letter for your reference. Our guests this evening are both dedicated to the student experience at Stony Brook and continually strive for excellence in everything they do. And they have fun doing it. If you follow them on social media, you'll see that for yourselves. You'll find them at campus events, always advocating for student success and engagement. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Richard Gatto, Vice President for Student Affairs, and Dr. Rick McClendon, Assistant Vice President and Dean of Students for the Rick and Rick Show. Take it away.
Great. Thanks so much, Amanda. Really appreciate it. And to Ryan and Rick, so glad to be with you, and to all the guests that are joining us tonight. And let me also add to what Amanda said and offer my congratulations to each of you in your admission to Stony Brook, and for the parents and families in the room, congratulations to you as well. I know this is a really big moment. I kind of, as she's talking, I'm hearkening back to those days when you get your acceptance letter. And we are just so thrilled that not only that you thought to apply to Stony Brook, but that you have the academic grades and the extracurriculars and everything that makes up what we look for in a CWL. So again, on behalf of the university, again, congratulations. I'll share a little bit about myself. I'm going to share a bit about student affairs, and then Dean Rick will also share a lot of work he does around our student life area. I have been at Stony Brook for the last 21 years, and obviously I stayed a long time because I love it. I grew up on Long Island, so I am a Long Islander, and I'm grateful to be near family, and Stony Brook, in essence, has become my own extended family through all my time here. I've worked in academic advising, academic affairs, and most recently in the last 5 years in student affairs. And what that means, the way I describe it to high school students, is that we are really your out of classroom experience, thinking about while you're in class in college for a certain number of hours a week, maybe 18 hours a week or so, there's a lot of time you're outside of the classroom. And so our job in student affairs is to help build your capacity as a leader, as someone trying to figure out what you want to do with your life as a career. What are you passionate about? And so that's why, as Amanda said, we have so much fun doing this, because it's a joy to work with our student body. So we do have at Stony Brook, we have about 18,000 undergraduate students. So we are a large institution, but we also try very hard to make it feel like a small experience. And so as part of our onboarding process, Dean Rick will talk about our orientation program. But I wanted to share a bit about just some fundamentals of the university, because certainly I think top of mind for all of us, and COVID reminded us of this, is the importance of health and safety on a college campus. And that's something we take very seriously. We offer at the university an incredible on-site services for student health, our counseling center, We have a prevention and outreach area, and we have an amazing student accessibility support center. And then we have a terrific student support team as well. We also have a fantastic recreation center. So a lot of areas, what I view as the holistic student experience. Our focus is not only you as a student, but as a human being as well. And so we spend a lot of time helping students grow and develop into the people they want to become, like, and help figure out what your goals and your passions are. So again, but health and safety is always a fundamental part of what we want to make sure students have that in order to then grow and develop. The other area I wanted to share is that for obviously all of you coming in as first year students, should you choose Stony Brook, we have a very robust on-campus population of students. We house nearly 10,000 resident students on campus. Next to NYU, we're the largest residential system in New York State. And that makes us proud because there's a lot of campus life happening because of having such a large residential population. Actually, about 85% of our entering first year class does choose to live on campus. But if you're local, like I was growing up on Long Island, you can also commute to campus. And that's another area where we invest a lot of time and energy to support both residents and commuter students. We also have a very robust career center on campus. And that area focuses a lot of time and energy on helping not only get students in the door looking at experiences. We talk about the term experiential learning, which are all the elements that make up your college experience. And it could be in and out of the classroom. So whether that is working with a faculty member on research, or doing volunteer work at Stony Brook Hospital, which is an amazing medical center, or studying abroad, or doing other volunteer work in the community through our Service Learning and Community Service Center. We have so many different ways for students to get involved. Dean Rick, again, we'll talk a lot about even our clubs and organizations, but one of our areas of focus is to help build your capacity as a student leader on the campus, because you truly are our next generation of leaders. And so we want to invest in you so that you will then be successful. So we have, again, a robust team, a large team here committed to your success. Ultimately, the culture around Stony Brook is, we know as you enter the gates of Stony Brook on your first day and get oriented to the campus, we've already invested in you, and we partner with you as students and as family members to make sure that we're providing the right support so you become that successful graduate. And I always say to students that the best day on campus is the day that we get to all be in our campus stadium and celebrate your graduation. And that's the moment of pride for all of us, which is the finish line we all want to work towards. So we, again, are committed to you. We hope you'll choose us to be the next part of your journey in life. And we're just so excited to hopefully call you a future Seawolf. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Dean Rick.
Thank you, VP Rick. Just so you all know, when you come to campus and you see Rick and I, it's going to be VP Rick, Dean Rick. Welcome to the Rick and Rick Show. So I'm glad to be here. I've been at Stony Brook since July 2021. So I'm a brand, not new Seawolf, but I'm still in my sophomore year of Stony Brook. And I'm really enjoying the experiences that I'm having, meeting students, listening to their experiences about what it means to be a Seawolf on Long Island, whether they're from New York or they're from out of state. And we just have a great time just talking about how to, in a almost post-COVID world, really create a vibrant campus experience, because Stony Brook is your home away from home, whether you live on Long Island or you're from a different part of the country or world. So we want to create environments on campus and within this larger Stony Brook community where you could just feel right at home. And so we try to provide a very much high energy, vibrant campus life, because we know that having a positive out of the classroom experience is going to allow for you to not only feel like you belong here, but also make connections, make friends, feel like you belong in a community where you could be supported by the ideas that you come up with to create that vibrant campus life. So we do a lot of different things. I think one of the things I want you to kind of walk away with in this experience is, if you really want to see what we do in campus life, if you have Instagram, I would really welcome you to go to SB Engaged to check out our social media platform. It is ran predominantly by students and through the lens of students' experiences. And both Rick and I have our own social media where we connect with students as well. So again, connect with us there, ask us questions. We want you to come by our offices to share your experiences or share your ideas while you're, trying to navigate the infrastructure of Stony Brook. We have over 350 clubs and organizations, and every semester we open up that process so that we have a chance to say, hey, I didn't find my club here or my interest here, but I've got a great new idea. And we have program advisors who are dedicated to helping you create those spaces and places to create those clubs and organizations, but also to guide you through the process to seek funding, to seek space on campus, to host your events, or to meet people, or just talk about your club to draw up interest. We host involvement fairs in the very first 6 weeks of the fall semester. So that way you could see what's available to you. And if you don't find something in that first 6 weeks, how do we connect you with others to create those engagement opportunities? My favorite part of the week is usually Wednesdays. So we have this thing called Campus Lifetime, and it's a time in which from 1 p.m. to about 2:20 p.m. every single Wednesday, most of the campus doesn't have a class. And so that's an opportunity to check out clubs and organizations who are tabling, they're fundraising, they're talking about a cause, they're engaging activities in different spaces. But that's the programming hour for all students. And what I love about Campus Lifetime is we have Stony Brook DJs. This was a club created for students by students, and you will see them every Campus Lifetime, indoor or outdoor, just playing music. And it's a wonderful site because it keeps the energy just high, but also it allows for us just to kind of connect with friends in a very social setting. We've invested a lot of resources into this club, into a lot of our public spaces. And so if you haven't visited campus yet, check out our Stony Brook Union, check out our Student Activity Center. You're really going to get to see the hustle and bustle of campus life. We also encourage students to participate in our new CWolf orientation. I think it's really important that you get to connect with a peer assistant leader or an orientation leader. They'll help you navigate what it means to onboard through that whole process. They do a lot of programming, one-to-one connections throughout the summer into the first couple of weeks of school, just so you feel like you can be having a peer to help you navigate what it means to be here in those first 6 weeks, finding the right classes, finding out where your residence hall is and how to navigate walking through campus. Because when you're on campus, you're trying to find this building or that building, having a buddy to kind of help you get there quickly is important. We do provide a calendar of events and resources, but sometimes, you get a little lost. So our orientation leaders, our commuter assistants, if you're commuting to campus, they're available to support you and to help you navigate the intricacies of campus life. And for our students who enjoy the outdoors or want to experience the outdoors, we do have a SOAP program, which is an outdoor adventures program that would allow for SeaWolves to kind of do horseback riding or rock climbing or kayaking, canoeing when the weather's nice. So there's a lot of outdoor adventure type activities to participate in. And the first week before classes begin, which is New SeaWolves Welcome Week, there are a lot of activities that go on campus. And we also do off-campus trips because we want you to know what it's like to explore Long Island. And so we have this program initiative called Beyond the Brook, which means beyond Stony Brook, the campus, what can I do while I'm on Long Island, all the way up to New York City? And so we provide tickets to different shows or events or activities at a very reduced discount. And so we want to get students to make new friends and connect with these events. We've done Broadway shows, we've done aquarium visits, apple picking, those kinds of things, just to kind of get you out and about into the community. Because while you're on campus having fun, we want you to explore the larger community that you're also a part of. For our families, we want you to know that we've got a newsletter called the Family Newsletter that we send out quarterly, if not once a month, just to let you know some tips and tricks on how to support your SeaWolf as they're going through the process and navigating their first couple of weeks in college. So we provide that newsletter as just helpful tips and resources. And also we have a whole website as well for families to kind of engage with resources that campus has to offer. And then lastly, we host every about around September or early October, what's called Family Weekend. And so once your CWIF kind of settles in and you want to kind of get an idea on, well, what have you done in the past couple of weeks and how's campus, treating you? You come back, you visit campus, you be a part of some of the programs that we do. It's also a great time to connect with myself and VP Rick and the president, because we will come out to the events during Family Weekend just to kind of greet families and check in on your experiences so far as well. And then I would say we have a lot of spirit and pride activities and traditions that we do. And I've kind of got my own top 10, but some of the things that I like about the spring semester, one of the most funniest things that we do, it's called Roth Regatta. So on campus, we have this thing called Roth Pond. And it is not a pond that you go, jumping in year round, but it is a pond where our students will take duct tape, cardboard boxes, and their creative imagination, and they build these cardboard boxes and they race as best as they can across Roth Pond. Some boats make it all the way through, some sink upon impact, but it is the funniest. I mean, several thousand students come out, faculty, staff, to participate just to watch the high energy of the event itself. We do what's called Brookfest, which is a concert where students get to vote on who the artists are that we bring to campus. And so we usually do about 3 acts that are coming to campus, and the students get to select that. And every single April, this event happens in our basketball arena. And again, alumni come back and participate in this event. So if you're into concerts and music, that's a great way. Our USG, they also put on what's called the USG Comedy Show. And so they brought in Wild 'N Out to campus a couple of times just to kind of have that kind of engagement. We do a food cooking competition as well, where students get to compete against one another. Two teams of 2 students get to compete to have their menu item of whatever that basket of things are. If you ever watched Chopped, it's kind of like that. And so it's a great way. So we just did a Shamrock Lucky St. Patrick's Day kind of milkshake and smoothies theme. And so that menu item is going on one of our retail dining locations, labeled and named after the students who were a part of creating it. So we have so many campus traditions and events that I think you all will enjoy. And so as you are out and about and learning more about campus, again, we want you to be in the driver's seat to your college experience, which is why we say we want to be very holistic. When you're in the classroom, you're talking about what research that interests you. When you're out of the classroom, you're talking about how do you unwind? How do you engage with your peers, build leadership skills? How do you take advantage of our meditation space, which is opening up in like the next couple of weeks? It's a beautifully designed space for you to kind of go in, shake off the day, and just meditate for a few moments. We're really putting a lot of resources into enhancing our spaces for our students. So I hope to see you all on campus, and I hope to learn more about your experiences as you navigate your first couple of weeks on your first year.
Thank you both so much. That was great. Now I want to secure, can I like reserve the meditation space all to myself? Or I'm assuming that's
we'll have it for faculty staff too,
but good.
We've already had student groups that have made use of it, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's nice. Well, we have some great questions from the audience, a few that were submitted in advance. So we'll get started and talk about a smaller population at Stony Brook, but a very important one, students who choose to live off campus as first-year students or even beyond that. And a student asked if there were, what kind of support the university has, or, especially for like how students get involved as commuters and if that's a priority.
Yeah, it is. So there's 3 major ways I'll say. One is to visit the Commuter Lounge, which is located in the Melville Library. That space was dedicated and designed specifically for students in mind, and the hours are very long. I think we close for like 4 hours throughout a 24-hour period for just cleaning purposes, but it has lockers, television, comfortable seating in there, vending machine options. So the space is designed for students who want to kind of connect, study, relax with each other. We have commuter assistants. Their role is to connect one-on-one with students who opt into having a peer mentor, and their job is to navigate the college environment by being a mentor to a student coming into Stony Brook. And then we have our Community Student Association. They do a lot of programs for commuter students during campus lifetime, and sometimes even during early morning. Our pit stop commuter lounge is like the starting place for everything. But also we have the lot 40 where most commuters park. We try to do a little bit of programming over in that space and evening programming too, for those who might be on campus for late nights and weekend programming. So we got a lot of things going on, but we're always open to hearing students' feedback about how to enhance the commuter student experience as well.
That's great. And there used to be lockers where students could store stuff. Is that still possible?
It's still right in the commuter
Okay.
lounge. Yeah,
Oh,
lockers are
very
right in
cool.
there.
Someone wants to know, very important question, when is the first day of classes and when can they move into their dorm or residence halls, as we call it?
So I'm actually going to pull up my calendar because I want to make sure I get the exact date right. So actually during COVID, we wound up doing a more staggered schedule, which worked out very well to make sure there were no lines with check-in. So just to point out, all first-year students who live on campus do live in one of 3 residential communities, and those are our Mendy Quad, H Quad, and we call ER Eleanor Roosevelt community. So those 3 communities are where all freshmen are housed. So you can take a look to see those spaces. All new students, there's dependent if you're an international student, there are certain times, but the general move-in date for most students will be on Monday, August 21st and Tuesday, August 22nd. So for planning purposes, there may be some programs. We have what's called Siebel's Outdoor Adventure Program. There are some other early arrival programs that are for some students that they may arrive the day earlier than that. But again, the vast majority will arrive on one of those 2 days. The Welcome Week, as Dean Rick mentioned, continues that entire week and through that weekend. And the first day of classes this fall is Monday, August 28th.
Excellent. And another question that was submitted earlier. I don't have a roommate now. I live at home. I have my own room. What can I expect from having a roommate in college? I'm nervous.
That's a great question. So I'm going to just point out, I'm a twin. And so I always had a roommate my entire life. I think it is whether you've lived in your own room in your own home or had a sibling you've lived with. I do think the experience in college, I want to say, coming with an open mind about meeting another individual to kind of share a room with. One important piece of advice that was always given to me is that your roommate is your roommate. They may not become your best friend, and that's okay. It's just a space that you live with somebody, and that, if you become friends, that's great. But in terms of the experience, we've set it up that obviously your own bed, own closet space, we have it all designated in terms of the space that you have in your residence hall. I always encourage students, don't spend your entire life in your room. You want to go out, meet roommates in the hall that you're in. We encourage students to join hall council to get involved. Obviously, as you move up in class years, you may have the opportunity to get a single room, and some people would prefer that later on. But I just like the idea that you get to know people, and I think to be open to that experience, I think is very important. And the other point I should have mentioned earlier is one of the best parts and why I love Stony Brook is the diversity of our student body. And the fact that we have students from all over the world, all over the US, all different, every identity you can think of is at Stony Brook. And I think this is an amazing opportunity for our students to get to know people who are different from them. And certainly we work very hard to create groups of similar identities for our support system, because people want to see people like them in the institution. And we work really hard for that. But we also want to make sure this is the one time in your life where you can meet people from everywhere, all corners of the world. So take advantage of that opportunity. And that very well may be your roommate, which is, I think, an exciting prospect.
Yeah. And the only small thing I would add is once you find out who your roommate is, one thing that I did when I started out in college, especially as a first generation student trying to navigate college, I got in touch with my roommate just to get to know them. I made connections on social media, had small chats about who they are, what they like, what they don't like, and share a little bit about who I am as well and what I'm excited about for college. So when we finally got to college, we kind of went to our first couple of events together, and then we kind of found our path from there. So I think it's always good to just kind of check in and see who the person is and tell them about yourself, and then just build a rapport from there and see where it goes. Make it natural. Doesn't have to be like this interview, process, but just more of a, hey, we're gonna be roommates. How's it going?
Great, thank you. You had a good question here, especially, people who haven't visited yet and maybe are planning to visit, maybe at one of the admitted student days in April 15th or 22nd. But as they're kind of wrapping their head around the size of the campus, how would you describe the size of the campus and whether that's, intimidating when you're, actually on campus?
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about perspective. It really depends on what kind of community you come from, what you're expecting to have from the campus experience. I would say there are spaces and places on campus between our dining halls and our activity centers that are very close to one another, so it makes connecting with others easier. But it's about having the opportunity to kind of see the full campus by understanding like where you are and where your classes are. And I think once you get settled to know like where your common denominator spaces are, it'll feel like a smaller campus to begin with, because you have this idea of like, I know where building is for these resources, and this is where I'm going to eat. This is where my residence hall is. So navigating, I find that I can walk from one end of campus to the next and be totally fine. Some people use the bus system, which is a great resource as well. But just to get out and see how beautiful campus is and where everything is, I really enjoyed that experience coming new into Stony Brook too.
And if I could echo what Dean Rick's mentioning, I like that you said the word perspective. I think Stony Brook is the largest campus that I'd ever worked on. And so when I arrived my first day, I have to be honest, it did feel overwhelming, but you quickly learn everything. And one thing I really like about the structure of the campus, if you haven't been to the campus, the academic mall where all the classroom buildings are all in the center of campus, and then all the residence halls surround that area. So I have to say, whoever designed it did a fantastic job, because with all the academic buildings near each other, between class times, you've only got a maximum of about 7 or 8 minute walk to go from one end to the other. So you don't need to take a bus to get to classroom buildings. Everything's within a walkable distance. And what's nice too is as Dean Rick mentioned, the DJ program, that's kind of all in the academic mall, and a lot of activities happening. So that's where people kind of pass each other and say hello and meet friends. So it's all truly in the center of campus, which is good. The one thing I will also say too, being on a large campus like Stony Brook, it also means there are more opportunities. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I think I've noticed, obviously at Stony Brook Hospital, I mentioned about volunteer work there. We have so many assets at the university that are available to students. And that's also, in a sense, the size of the campus is our strength too. But I always encourage students, no matter whether you go to a smaller campus or a larger campus, it's all about the initiative you take to go say hi to people and to connect and to get engaged and be involved in the campus. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. Make sure you are getting out there saying hi to people and making those connections, because right away, that's what makes a big campus feel small right away, because you will then find your niche if you're willing to get kind of all into that conversation.
And if I'm a residential student, when can I have a car on campus? Very popular upvoted question.
Yes, so cars are always important. So if obviously if you're a commuter student, you are permitted to have a car immediately because that's a form of transportation. For resident students, it's once you hit what we call junior standing or earning at least 57 or more credits. So mostly it's juniors and seniors who have cars. If we have a resident student that there is a special need, whether they have a job off campus or a medical need, that is, students can put in a special request for a parking permit as early as their first semester, but that would have to be approved as an exception. But again, juniors and seniors are definite, and anybody else would be by exception.
And similar question, in terms of kind of exceptions to the rule, for religious purposes, or I guess really any purpose, are there opportunities for singles in Mendelssohn or H-Quad?
I can't speak specifically for Mendy and H, the singles, but let me say for first year housing overall, we do have a process through SASE, which is Student Accessibility Support Center. If they're based upon a documented disability, that the recommendation is to have a single room, that would go through that process. So if anybody wanted to just look at the process, it's stonybrook.edu/SASC, SASC is the website. And that is the way to work through a process if someone's requesting a single for either medical or for disability reasons. But that would be the one exception. There may be through room selection process the ability to get a single sometimes. But the numbers are small for the first year at Stony Brook.
Great. And I'm just going to answer this one quickly. So the question is, can freshmen live in a suite style housing? First year students will all be in one of the 3 residential communities that Rick mentioned. Those are all non-suites. But once you advance and become an upperclassman, then you can move into all different types of campus residences, from suite style housing to upperclassmen apartments. Once you hit a certain credit limit or attain a certain credit amount. Anything either of you want to add about that? Or?
Can I add one piece to that? And just to share, so we've actually changed our housing model a couple of years ago to the reason that Amanda shared of having more traditional style halls for all first year students. And one of the reasons we did that, and maybe it harkens back to my first time in college, then what folks need to realize is that while a suite style may seem appealing to folks, you're in a suite behind a set of doors that give you a degree of privacy, yet you kind of are within your own small group. What's nice about the traditional style floor is that you walk out your room, you're in a hallway of a whole bunch of people. So I view it as, and why we wanted to do that at Stony Brook, it's a great way for people to meet each other. Because when you come on campus, maybe you'll know someone from your high school, but maybe you will know nobody. And this is a really important way for us to get you connected right away. So as you walk outside, there's somebody there likely you're going to say hello to. And then that's a chance for you to figure out, who do I want to be friends with, and find that niche. So it's for us, it's creating the structures for you to have the most successful onboarding experience at Stony Brook.
Thank you. What resources do we offer to LGBTQ plus students? And then, of course, the question went away. Let me find it. And does the school help transgender students get gender inclusive healthcare?
Yeah, so do you want me to, I'll take the first part. I might have to ask to repeat the second, but and Dean Rick, if you want to jump into. So I identify as a member of the LGBTQ community myself, and we obviously, as I shared earlier, the diversity of our campus includes all sexual identities. And I'm really proud Stony Brook is one of a small percentage of campuses nationwide that has a dedicated LGBTQ center. In fact, just yesterday, we celebrated the 5th year anniversary of the center at Stony Brook. So it is an important part of the fabric of the university that, again, I think exemplifies our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We also do have, to the second part of the question about transgender inclusive housing, we have actually, we call it gender inclusive housing at the university. And yes, that is an open for individuals to live together. There is a separate process for that in our housing. When you go in and actually into STARS, which is our housing portal, that'll be ability through housing, you can make that request. And we certainly work with students to make sure they're in a comfortable living situation. In terms of transgender healthcare, yes, actually, we have our student health services, as I mentioned, on campus, and our providers do provide care related to for all of our students. And in fact, we've actually had many of our medical professionals go to webinars, workshops, training sessions related to providing care, particularly for transgender students, because their needs may be a little different from what other students are asking. We want to make sure our providers are well-versed in providing the care needed. So that's, again, another really important part of creating that holistic experience for all of our students.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'll add is just recently, Stony Brook changed its policies for our chosen name and pronouns policy. So starting this fall, students could, utilize their chosen name and pronouns on campus as well, and through the records that we keep too.
Sorry, I was just posting the link to the LGBTQ plus center. So another question that we have, When do club sports begin? Can I start my first year, or when are they running all throughout the year?
Yeah, so every club sports is different when they start their season, because they're very different and their resources. But yeah, once you come to campus and you find the right club sport, you attend their first meeting, they will be able to share with you when their practices are. They'll be able to share with you when you can actually start and what kind of training and resources you need to become an effective player. But yeah, you don't have to wait to join a club sport whatsoever. You can start immediately.
And to add, we also do have, as it was mentioned, the Recreation and Wellness Center. And so a lot of club sports do activities within that space. We do have a lot of great outdoor field space at Stony Brook, which we love our students playing on. And one great thing that's going to happen in the next year, we're actually building out several turf fields. So that's going to be really an exciting addition to the campus.
We have another kind of similar question. Is there a marching band or pep band available for student participation?
That's Dean Rick, right? Oh, it's all over it. Go.
Of course, the Spirit of Stony Brook is our #1 marching band, athletic band for campus. They've got a YouTube page. They've got a social media page on Instagram. I highly recommend that you check it out. We recently just went down to DC to watch the men's and women's basketball teams play in DC and to perform at their games as well. They are an amazing group of professionals. And they just recently created a band fraternity, Kappa Kappa Psi, on campus, which is going to be new this fall as well. They got chartered this past fall. And so this coming fall, 2023, will be the first class year of non-founding members who created this group. But they are located right here in the Stony Brook Union on the lower level. You will see them around campus, especially on game day. Their job is to go around, play music, get folks excited, get folks involved. You see them during Welcome Week, during our New Seawolves Welcome Week programming. They are all across campus, and they're just a very excited, vibrant group. They're at every single athletic game that we can, find students to be a part of. Mostly they're at football and basketball games, but they do go to other athletic games across when the schedule permits. But they are the best group of musicians that we have across campus, and they bring the spirit truly to Stony Brook.
And can I add too, if person asking the question plays an instrument, we want you.
Yes. And if you play the trombone,
if you played in high school, you'll certainly be able to reach out to our band director. And that also, we do a band camp, which actually the group arrives a little earlier than the dates I shared. So if you are interested, it is an amazing group of students. They are such a tight group, and we're so proud of the work that they do.
And if you play the trombone, I'll even be more of your favorite because I'm a former trombone player.
I don't play any instruments, so you don't want me.
Me neither. So a very popular upvoted question is, how do we find internships or research opportunities?
Great, I'll jump into both of those. So research opportunities, there are several ways. One is by working with your faculty. You'll get to learn what their research interests are, and you might see something posted about a different study or opportunity on a research grant to be part of it. So you may just find that on your own. Another way is, if there's a research interest you have, you can read up on faculty members' own research interest. And we sometimes say, just write to them and say, hey, I'm interested in this. Do you have any opportunities for me? Because many faculty, how they either hire or get student volunteers is they write a grant and they get money, whether it's the NIH, another organization, and that's how they run a lab, and they'll be able to then either put students on the grant, or sometimes we'll seek out volunteers to help. The other more formal way is through, it's called Eureka, which it's the letters URECA, which stands for Undergraduate Research and Creative Activities. That's a great arm within our provost office. And that area, again, does a lot of connecting students directly with faculty. So if you don't know where to turn or where to go, Eureka is your best place to begin. And then they can connect you to faculty members. The other question was around internships. So I'm really proud of our Career Center. They are highly engaged in the process of helping students obtain internships. We have a couple of examples of a few things. We have a program called DPLN, which is the Diversity Professional Leadership Network, which is an internship program that connects current students to our alumni. And our Stony Brook alums are really the heart of what a lot of our internship programs are about, because it's alums who come back both in offering internships to our students, but also offering jobs after graduation by coming to our job fairs and just showing their love of giving back to Stony Brook by hiring our own. So I think that's a really important part. As higher ed has progressed over the last couple of decades, internships have become more and more important. They're an important part of building your resume. And so while we know you're going to say Stony Brook and a great GPA, the question is, what's the rest? And a lot of it, as Dean Rick mentioned, is about club and organization involvement. But doing an internship is certainly something that we highly value. And in fact, as part of the curriculum at Stony Brook, you can get what's called EXP plus credit. So an internship you can earn credits towards your degree with that as well. So that's another plus of doing an internship, whether during the academic year, and many of our students do internships over the summer as well.
Thank you. And kind of in a similar vein, this is a specific volunteer question about Stony Brook Hospital, but just in general, are there opportunities to volunteer, and I guess in kind of healthcare related ways?
Yeah, so maybe just talk to you about the healthcare piece more broadly. About 40% of our entering students express some interest in the healthcare field, and that's great, because those that may say, I want to be a doctor, is a great step to look at, but we also ask students to have broader perspectives, because healthcare is, as you know, is a growing, huge industry. And so we want students to get experience in multiple ways. So one is back to the Career Center. We do what we call career communities, in which you can sign up to get newsletters and other information on different communities. And one of the communities is actually healthcare. So if you, on the website, you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get on a biweekly basis information from the Career Center about, it might be about a healthcare panel, it might be about a healthcare internship opportunity. So anything around that general career area is what you'll get information on. At Stony Brook Hospital, during the pandemic, they did stop their volunteer program, but it's now back into effect. And they basically have a volunteer coordinator that we link our students to at the hospital, who then link the students to various places in the hospital to do volunteer work. And that is, again, talk about wonderful hands-on experience, literally, 2 steps away. It's a great, great opportunity that Stony Brook offers to its students.
Great. So I see a lot of questions coming in. We'll hopefully get to many of them. We have a question about how new students will connect to a roommate or be assigned to campus residences. Can we have kind of a general overview?
I will give a very general overview, because I think we'll have to connect you to campus residence more specifically. My understanding is how we've done in the past, actually, students, there's a window of opportunity to go in and actually select your room within the residential community that you're assigned. And that's actually based upon what we call your undergraduate college. So there's a process that you'll be communicated to about after May 1, after you pay a deposit to the university, that then will get you into the housing system. And so you'll indicate again to confirm if you do want to live on campus. Then you get into the process of selecting your undergraduate college, which will place you in one of the 3 communities we mentioned. And then from there, you will be able to go in and then within a certain time period to go in and select your room. Amanda, you may know more than I don't know about the roommate piece of that selection process, but campus residences, you can certainly reach out to them for more information.
Yeah, I know that they're working on getting information out to students, especially as they confirm admission and decide they're coming to Stony Brook. There's kind of a piece that once you pay your housing deposit and then you say you want to live on campus, you get to fill out some information. I don't have all of those details today, but it's kind of a matching system. So it's less that you're picking a specific roommate, but you're kind of being matched. We have a question here. If you commute the first year, are you able to live on campus later? I think that's yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the way it works currently, because we do have a strong demand for housing on campus. So once you start at Stony Brook and live as a first semester student, you are guaranteed housing for your next 8 semesters. So for your 4-year experience, you're guaranteed housing. But once you either stop out of housing or if you don't start with housing right away, there is not a guarantee though. So it's important just to note that it only guaranteed if you start as a first semester freshman and continue through entirely till you graduate. So that's important to know. We do maintain a wait list though for housing, and the last couple of years we've been able to work through the wait list just fine. It depends year to year what that demand looks like. So just to be advised certainly of that if you want to look at housing later. There's just not a guarantee. I will say if you didn't get housing in your first semester, meaning you commuted the first year and wanted to live on campus, it's much easier to get in the spring semester than it is in the fall.
Someone's wondering about, like, if they are a student and they get sick on campus, is there a campus doctor?
Oh, I got this one because we've got even better. So at Stony Brook, and this goes back to the real important part about health and safety on campus. So we have an amazing student health services, and they're open weekdays from a 9 to 5 period to support students. And we have medical doctors, nurse practitioners, nurses, physician assistants, and they provide a wide array of services. So as an example, for either a parent who's listening now or a student, if you feel sick, for example, one day, and it's during the day, you would obviously call student health services and they would see you, immediately that day as you would calling a normal doctor. And that cost is all included in, there's no copay. It's all part of your tuition and fees to go to Stony Brook. There might be a case if a lab test needs to be done, there might be a cost associated with that, but those services, again, all part of your time at Stony Brook. The great news is we actually partnered this year, and we'll continue with a company called Timely Care. And they actually provide, it's amazing, I wish we had this as adults, as 24/7 access to both telecounseling and telemedicine. And so let me go to the telemedicine piece because that was the question around healthcare. Whether it's during the regular business day or evenings or weekends, any student that wants assistance, it's an app on their phone and they can get immediate, either a scheduled medical appointment or immediate help, and their wait time is typically no more than 5 minutes. It's been an amazing service we started. Students use it all the time, and it's something that we found an important investment because we know the life of a college student is 24/7. And so this now provides both the counseling end for students who might need any mental health counseling, as well as the medical end. And the other thing that's incredible at Stony Brook, and we actually, if you're interested in the medical field too, I should have mentioned, we have a group called SBU on campus, which is the Stony Brook Volunteer Ambulance Corps. So we have our own ambulance system on campus, which is amazing, all student run 24/7. And if ever there's an emergency where someone needs to be transported, the best thing is we have the hospital right across the street. And so if ever there was a more significant health issue, the care that students are provided for at that hospital is amazing. And again, we're so grateful to have this wonderful partnership with SBU and the Stony Brook Hospital for care of our students and all patients there.
Yeah, and to add to that is when you have to use hospital services and you're going to be out for a day or two with your classes, contact our student support team. They will help guide you and navigate how to connect with your faculty, your professors, on letting them know that you've been in the hospital or you're feeling sick, or how do you make up assignments and classes and that kind of stuff. So they're a great resource when you have that need as well.
We had a question about the net ID. I know that's very popular because you need your net ID for Stony Brook to access a lot of these portals that we're talking about. The net ID won't be available until mid-April, and you will be directly emailed your net ID information. And that'll kind of open up a lot of things, but it's very early. It's just early March. So you have a little ways away to wait for that. We have a question about sports, specifically for women, and also ice hockey.
Great. And what specifically is about what exists, or?
Yeah, I think it's kind of vague, but yeah, like what do we have and is there ice hockey?
Yeah, so I can just jump in a bit. So obviously we are a Division I institution, so lots of NCAA sports, and we want to make sure, as Dean Rick has mentioned, football and basketball really want to be supportive. because those are big, big stadiums, big locations for us to encourage students to attend and support and cheer on their classmates. We do have obviously several women's sports. I could probably list them all up, but big ones are tennis, our women's lacrosse team, and they're ranked, I think, 3rd in the nation right now. I mean, they're doing amazing. I'm going to blank on the other ones. Maybe D-Rick can remind me of others, but we do also, we do have it's not an NCAA sport, but we do have a club sport for ice hockey as well. They also do incredibly well as a team. We don't have an ice rink on campus, but they actually, they practice and play locally at a rink nearby campus.
VP Rick, I can't believe you forgot about our one of our guest coaching moments.
But basketball, soccer. Sorry, I mean those are the basics. I should have just even known all those. I was looking for the more, I don't know what my brain was thinking, but our women's basketball does very well too. So it's
and I'm excited about the women's basketball because I've been a guest coach, and when I've attended the games, I'm 3-0. So they've won the 3 games I've been to. So I'm feeling pretty lucky.
So you're saying you're the lucky charm? Is that what?
I'm the lucky charm.
That's great.
Look at the athletics homepage, because you'll see all the NCAA sports. And I honestly, it's just the team's a wonderful group and a great support structure within the athletics program here.
And as VP Rick said, is on our campus recreation and wellness page. You can see a list of the club sports there. And once you get access to what's called SB Engage or the Court Gap, you'll see a lot of our intramural sports clubs listed there as well.
We have a question about food. So very important topic.
VP Rick is a great baker. So yes, he will bake for you.
I bake birthday cakes. That's my specialty.
Okay. Hey, don't make promises. There's a lot of people listening tonight. If we were going to eat, how would we pay? And are we allowed to cook in the dorm? And is the cost of food included?
Good question. Several questions. So let me try to back them up. So so we do have several dining operations on campus. That is separate from, so I'll work through if you're a resident. So residents pay for housing at a separate cost. And then depending upon where you live on campus, you are required to have a meal plan or variation of a particular meal plan. Since we're talking about all first years now, if you're a resident student, it's the same meal plan for all. It's called right now, again, there may be changes in the future, but we call it an unlimited meal plan, where we have what we call 2 dine-in locations, where that means students can go in anytime they want, any time of day, go in and eat whenever you want. It's kind of this open, it's like your open kitchen to go get food. And then in addition to that, students will get what we call dining dollars as part of their meal plan, a supplement to that, which allows them to go to what we call retail locations on campus. So we have several retail locations. We have a Starbucks on campus, where a Dunkin' Donuts is coming in about a month on campus. We have a Subway on campus, and then other kind of different retail locations where then you can use those dining dollars. It's really cash to then go buy food there. So that kind of encompasses the typical first year meal plan. Later on, as you go in different areas of campus, depending on where you live, you don't need to do the unlimited plan. You can do an all dining dollar plan. You can do less than that. It depends on what you want. The areas where you don't need a meal plan at all is where you have your own kitchen. And that is in West Apartments, which are more junior senior housing. And there are a couple of select other places on campus where you do have your own cooking facility. So you're not required to be in a meal plan. So those are the various variations. But again, for your first year, every resident student is on the unlimited plan. There are supplements you can make, because if you're a hefty eater, you might want to add more. But that's the standard for everyone. If you're a commuter, you don't have to have any meal plan at all. It's not required. Many students will add money to their card, because actually what you do by adding dining dollars, you actually get a discount of paying an 8% discount of paying no tax. So there's a benefit to doing that. All of the money on your card, it's all linked to your Stony Brook ID. So in fact, you don't even need cash. You just put money on your card, and then that's how you swipe. One other thing I wanted to mention about money I should have shared is that if you do live on campus, the cool thing is laundry is included. So you don't have to bring any quarters or other stuff. All the laundry machines are included in the cost of living on campus, which is great.
And the other part is, if mom and dad or a family member wants to put Wolfie Wallet, which is also kind of like cash on your card that allows for you. We've got a list of off-campus retail locations that allow for you to eat off campus as well. So when you're out and about hanging with friends, the local community, and you want to eat and use Wolfie Wallet, that's a great way to kind of have an off-campus experience too.
Yeah, great
I
point.
can't believe we only have 5 minutes left. It's amazing. Time just flies. We have a great question here about tutoring services, and are they by teachers or students?
Sure. So another thing we're really proud of, we have what's called the ASTC. You're going to hear all these acronyms, by the way. It's the Academic Success and Tutoring Center. It's actually in the building where Dean Rick is, our Stony Brook Union. They do a phenomenal job. So that tutoring center, it's actually peer-based tutoring. So they offer students individual, so one-on-one tutoring on a variety of subjects. Most of the classes that are offered are around STEM disciplines. Chemistry, math, physics, biology are examples, but they do tutor in other courses as well. They also do programs, because if you were like me, went to college, I thought I knew how to study, but I realized I didn't. And you learn quickly. And so they do a lot of study skills workshops. Time management is a really important one for students coming to college. So they try to build some of the skill areas, and then the tutors do a lot on, content. We do also have on campus we have a writing center, which when I was the first year in college, that I used a lot. So I would highly recommend use of that. And then if you are living on campus, we also do have residential tutoring centers on campus. So those are evening hours where students can go. So sometimes it's individual, sometimes group, depending upon the location of that tutoring. But what I always encourage students to do is go to tutoring early. Don't wait until the 10th week of the semester, because by then you're playing catch up. So if you think you might need the help, better to start early, and then if you're doing fine, back off of it. But really important to seek the help. And all of that's free. All the tutoring's free. It's included in your tuition.
That's great. And we have a question about how competitive are students with each other in the classroom or at Stony Brook?
I'll give my perspective, then Dean Rick, I'm curious what you think. I've been here a long time, and I will say that Stony Brook students by nature, they care about their academics. They're very academically minded. Sometimes I have to say to students, please go have fun, go do other things. Because they're always, I think, very focused on academics and getting their work done. I actually taught a class today of first-year students and asked them how they're doing, and there's a lot of work to do. There are high expectations of work. Whether I think it's competitive or not, I think maybe students sometimes they compete with themselves. Sometimes maybe they're competing with others to a degree, but I would argue that even if you feel that you're ever in an environment, and sometimes high school can be like that, where you're competing against your peers for the grade, I always say try to take a step back from that and really just look at what is it that you want to achieve. Don't compare yourself to others, but make sure you're utilizing the resources available to you to do your very best. And I'm going to use, this is the line my parents always said, which I think is true in all, is just try your best. Try your best. I think that's all we can ask of you. Stay motivated, focused, and do the best that you can.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've never had, and I teach 2 courses, one of them being the Stony Brook 102 course, which is usually in the spring semester. And I never hear students talk about competing with one another, but I agree with VP Rick is that it's like, I want to be the better version of myself academically. I ask folks, so what are you doing for spring break? And they're like, catching up on schoolwork and getting ready for projects. And I'm like, so no one's going to the beach? Or just sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. So some students are going back to the city and engaging that way and having some time off. And, as we like there needs to be an opportunity to kind of de-stress a little bit because we are very highly focused on our academics. But no, I've not heard or seen peer-to-peer competition in any way of that nature in the classroom, but more of just personal professional development for themselves.
So as we come to a close, do you have any final thoughts or suggestions or accolades for our potential new incoming Seawolves?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, is if you want to really understand the vibrancy of campus life, check us out on social media. You'll see what we're doing, what we're engaged in. It's really a putting yourself in the driver's seat to create your own experience. And both VP Rick and I are here to listen to those experiences and help you navigate the campus environment and to advocate for you when you have needs. But Stony Brook is a great place. I've enjoyed the 2 years I've been here. I'm still enjoying those 2 years because I just meet some really amazing students. And every time, there's an opportunity to raise funds for a worthy cause, our students are right there. Our USG created what's called a mental health gala fund. And so students who cannot afford mental health resources, they raise money to add value to that with our student support team. So it's a very caring, very supportive community. And I think it's really about what you're looking to make out of it and how you connect with others to navigate the waters.
I should just say ditto, but let me just add very, very briefly. As I said, I've been here at Stony Brook a long time, and I just loved our students. And it's what drives me to get up every morning and come to work excited. Our students really are just the lifeblood of the campus, and just honestly provide us with so much joy. And I know it sounds very simplistic, but when people say, how do you describe a Stony Brook student? I go, they're just really nice. And I think that's so true. And as Dean Rick mentioned, it's a really caring community. I think part of the motivation for all of you looking to come here, and I hope this has inspired you to want to come here and be part of our campus. But we're looking for you to be leaders on our campus and to be engaged and do your very best and work with us so we can help you define and achieve your goals. I mean, that's, as I said, as I started at the beginning, the greatest joy is graduation. And that's part of what we want to help you achieve in your life. And if you're willing to be partners with us, we are going to walk with you on that journey till you graduate. So we're just so excited. We hope we'll get to call you a Seawolf soon. And I hope you'll continue to reach out to us and to admissions if you have further questions.